All right, for the sake of diversity, I'm going to do something different this time. I'm starting the timer. Brothers and sisters, as you know, today the LEAP competition ends. I am not sure whether the TradingView will have another one. This was their first competition ever, and they announced it back at the end of February. So, there hasn't been any announcements for the April competition, so I assume it's not happening. However, I will be competing in a regular, classic prop firm competition in April. If you haven't watched the very first episode on this channel, now is the time to do it. In that episode, I go into details about how I trade those competitions. And this time around, I don't plan to drastically change my approach. I wonder if I can trade bad boy Bitcoin in this competition. Prior to taking part in the TradingView's LEAP, I never traded cryptocurrencies. And I have to admit that I quite like trading Bitcoin. I found it to be very technical, meaning it respects technical analysis levels very well, and that's what I like. Let's take a look. What do you know? Indeed, here he is. Bad boy Bitcoin, right there, Bitcoin US dollar. That's what we want. So, this will be the change then? I will add Bitcoin to the list of instruments that I will trade in the prop firm competition. All right, brothers and sisters, what day is it today? Sunday. And what does it mean? Well, the loyal subscribers know. My doctor advised me to indulge heavily in beer and pizza on weekends. Yeah, since I work for the man very hard, all week long, shoveling the damn coal into the damn furnace, the doctor advises me to recuperate on Saturdays. Brothers and sisters, what is better than beer and pizza? Do you know? Do you want to know? I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now. Ready? Nothing. Nothing is better than beer and pizza, as far as I'm concerned. There is simply no better way to recuperate than to indulge heavily in beer and pizza. Is there? Now, the day will come and I will become a gazillionaire. And once I become a gazillionaire, I'll become an aristocrat and I will become a connoisseur of fine wines. But until that day comes, I'll stick with what I know, beer and pizza. So, if I'm a little late with the stream this lovely evening, then you know the reason why. Now, I already touched upon the fact that in the ideal world, you'd expect people to stumble on this channel, fall in love with it, and watch every single episode. And I already touched upon the sad but true fact that we don't live in the ideal world. No, we don't. And many of you belong to the TikTok generation. Your attention span is what it is, and sadly, I can't expect you to watch all the episodes. Come to think of it, what does many mean in the context of 5 subscribers? I guess 3 or more will be many, right? Many of you will mean 3 or more, and few would mean 2 or fewer. Well, since many of you, that is 3 or more of you, will not go back and re-watch the highly informative and entertaining episode 1, I'll take it upon myself to briefly go over my, what should we call it, methodology, I guess. I'm half embarrassed to use these big words, to be honest, because my whole approach is so simple, it doesn't really require any brain cells. So, to call it a methodology or approach, I feel it's an overkill, I really do. But I digress. Brothers and sisters, I don't know why it's happening, but the more beer I consume, the more I digress. That's not good. So, let's do it. Brothers and sisters, let's do a demonstration on Aussie 200. What is Aussie 200? My understanding is Aussie 200 is what S&P 500 is for the States. Aussie 200 is for Australia. So, I trade pullbacks. What does it mean exactly? Well, I look at a 4-hour time frame. Okay, this is the main time frame I watch the instruments. 4-hour time frame. So, what do I see? Well, I see that the RC 200 is trending up. Does anyone see it? I think it's clear that it is trending up. You see a low, then a high, then another low which is higher than a previous low, then another high. This high is higher than the previous high, then yet another low again. And this low is higher than the previous low, then a high again, and the high is higher than the previous high. Okay, so we are in an uptrend. All right, but how do I enter this trend? Well, I wait for a pullback. Okay, so I have my fib tool set up in a certain way. Okay, these are the levels that I have. I have 50% pullback line. I trade that sometimes, but it's risky. Then I have 79% pullback and 70.5% pullback lines. So I prefer a deeper pullback. I prefer a pullback to these levels rather than 50%. So the competition hasn't started yet, but if it did, I could just set a limit order at this level. My stop would go at the bottom of it, and my profit would go at the top of it. That's it, more or less. Sometimes I would trail my order, have a trailing stop, and in that case I'd remove the target altogether. I would just let it run for as long as it does, okay? This is the set it and forget it approach. Here is my list of instruments. With Bitcoin, I have 33 instruments, and I would just go through this list and find something that is clearly trending, set up a limit order for a pullback, okay? Now, if I get tugged into the trade, then great. If not, if it doesn't pull back deep enough and runs without me, that's fine too. I have a long list of instruments, and according to the rules of the competition, I can't have more than 5 trades open at the same time. So, if I miss a trade on one instrument, it's not the end of the world. Okay, I get tugged in on another instrument. It's that simple. That's my entire strategy right here. I am laying it for you, Bear. Enjoy the view. Now, normally, since this is the hand-to-mouth trading channel where we aim not to put any money down, I would use a free version of TradingView. And you can definitely do that. I've done that in the past. For this approach, you don't need all the whistles and blowers. It's very simple. But I participated in the leap, and I'm in the positive balance with more than 1% profit. So in theory, I should be getting a 1 month of premium subscription as a reward. With a premium subscription, I get 400 alerts. That's a total overkill. I will never need that many, but since I have it, I will set up alerts. So I will get a message when I'm approaching my level of interest. So I'll be alerted about it, and I will decide what to do then. But this is absolutely unnecessary. It's a luxury that you don't need. I will use it if I get it, because I'll be getting it for free, so why not? Right? But you don't need it. In fact, I will do my reviews under the assumption that I don't have a premium subscription, even if I do get it. I want to demonstrate to you that it is not necessary. Okay? On weekends, I also look at the financial calendar for the upcoming week and mark days and times when I expect the market to move. So, let's do it now. What do I use for this purpose? Do you know? The loyal subscribers should know. I use a free version of Financial Juice. The juice will tell the truth. So, let's look at the juice. So, tonight at 7:50 p.m., and that's New York time, there are some news in Japan that could potentially move Japan-related indexes, such as Nikkei, which is on my list of instruments that I trade in, competitions, as well as all forex pairs that involve yen, and I have quite a few of those. So, this is something I'll be watching. Later at 9:45 p.m., there is red news coming out of China, but I don't have any direct exposure to Chinese indexes or currency. But I do trade Hong Kong index, and it could be indirectly affected. Okay? On Monday at 9:45 a.m., we have red news in the US of a manufacturing PMI. That is definitely of interest to us, because it has a potential of moving all US indexes as well as dollar forex pairs. That is very important. I'll definitely be watching this. On Tuesday, bright and early at 2 a.m., there is red news in the UK, and I do trade the UK indexes and many British pound-based pairs, so that is of major interest to me. A little later on Tuesday at 3:50 a.m., there is red news in France, then in Germany and Eurozone. I have instruments which are linked to French and German economies, and have French and German indexes, and, of course, I have plenty of euro-based pairs. So, that potentially could be a very busy time. At 4:30 a.m. there is red news out of the UK, and that is also something that I'll be watching. 8 a.m. red news out of Germany, that's definitely of interest to me. At 10 a.m. red news in the US. On Wednesday at 1 a.m. New York time there is an OPEC meeting. I do have 2 oil-based indexes, so I'll be watching them. At 5 a.m. we have red news in Eurozone. All euro-based forex pairs might be moving in major ways. So, if you're awake at this time, this is something you should be watching. Me? I'm afraid I'd be soundly asleep at 5 a.m. However, between 8:15 and 10 a.m., there is a series of red news in the US, and I do hope to be awake for that. At 10:30 a.m. crude oil inventories, I'll be watching my oil-related indexes. Still on Wednesday at 20:30 p.m., we have red news in Australia, and you may recall that I have Aussie 200 index in my arsenal, so it will move potential around that time. On Thursday, 2:30 a.m., we have red news out of Switzerland. All Swiss franc-based pairs have a potential to move around that time. At 3:55 a.m. red news in Germany, and that is of interest to me because I have DAX-based index that I'm trading. At 4:30 a.m. red news in the UK, at 7:30 red news for Eurozone, and at 8:30 a.m. major red news in the US. On Friday at 2 a.m. we have red news in Germany and in the UK, and at 8:30 major red news in the US. All right, it's going to be a very busy week, a lot of potential moves, and when markets move, traders make money, or traders lose money. So that's it for today. As always, I am usually on in the 5 to 8 p.m. time window, and that's New York time. Brothers and sisters, keep it up. Before you know, you'll be a billionaire, and I will be helping you along to get there. Take care now.